I laughed when he called me a fling. Not the kind of laughter that bursts out because something's funny, but the sharp, cracked kind that keeps you from falling apart. It was in a diner at 2 a.m., coffee gone cold, his arm brushing mine under the sticky formica table. "You know this isn't serious," he said, his voice all rough edges, like he wanted to slice through my chest and see if I'd bleed. "You're just a passing adventure." And yet every night since that conversation, my phone lights up with his name. A simple hey, or a picture of his sneakers kicked up on his dashboard, or sometimes just silenced 3 dots that disappear before words ever form. But he's there, always. That's the problem with Noah. He doesn't know how to leave, but he's terrified of staying. We met in the most cliché way possible, him crashing into me at a college house party in Boston, a red cup spilling beer down both our shirts. He muttered something about my clumsiness, even though he was the one who stumbled into me, and then he grinned, like the accident was fate. That grin hooked me, the kind that says I've got secrets, but maybe I'll let you in if you dare. Weeks later, I knew his secrets weren't the cute kind. Noah carried silence like armor, his past stitched into his skin where no one could see. He had walls higher than the skyscrapers downtown, and I diet that I am wanted to climb every single one. The first night we kissed, it was raining. Not the movie scene kind of rain, soft and poetic. No, it was a downpour, so heavy the streets flooded. We ducked into the shelter of a laundromat, both soaked, laughing like idiots. Then he looked at Miral, I looked at Muith, that smirk wiped clean off his face. He pressed me against the humming machines, his lips hot despite the chill, and whispered, "Don't read too much into this." But how could I not? Because Noah kissed like he wanted to own me, like he was begging for something he'd never admit out loud. And so here I am, weeks later, lying on my bed in a cheap apartment, my phone glowing against the dark. Another message from him. "You awake?" Of course I'm awake. I'm always awake when it comes to him. I type back, "You're insufferable. You know that?" The dots appear instantly. "Yeah. But you still answer." God help me, he's right. The first time I brought Noah to my place, he looked around like he didn't belong. My apartment wasn't much peeling paint, a couch with a permanent dip, a single window that rattled when trucks passed by. But it was mine. Home in its own fragile way. He didn't sit at first. Just stood there, arms crossed, eyes scanning every detail like he needed to memorize it in case he never came back. When he finally sat, it was close enough that our knees touched. "This is cozy," he said, and I almost laughed. Noah doesn't do cozy. He does chaos and late-night drives and the kind of silence that hurts more than shouting. But sitting there, his shoulder brushing mine, he looked almost safe. I wanted to ask him what he was so afraid of, why he kept pulling me in only to shove me away. But I didn't. Instead, I offered him a beer, we watched some mindless sitcom rerun, and he stayed the night. Not in the bed, God forbid. He took the couch. But in the middle of the night, I woke to find him standing in my doorway, watching me like he'd forgotten how to breathe. When our eyes met, he whispered, "Go back to sleep." And just like that, he vanished back to the couch. Noah doesn't say the things that matter. He shows them in flashes, like the way he texts me goodnight every single night, even when he's drunk or busy. Like the way his hand finds mine under the table when he thinks no one's looking. Like the way he always leaves but never for long. And I let him. The cruelest part is, I know he cares. I see it in the way his mask cracks when he thinks I'm not paying attention. In the way his laugh softens when I tease him. But caring isn't the same as staying. Last week we fought. Big surprise. He showed up at my door, storm-eyed and restless, muttering about his brother. About some family mess he couldn't untangle. I tried to comfort him, but Noah doesn't take comfort. He takes offense. One wrong word and suddenly he was on his feet, pacing, snapping that I didn't understand him, that I couldn't. Finally, I said it. "You can't keep doing this to me." He froze. For a second, his face was bare, just a boy, terrified and tired. Then he shoved his hands into his pockets, forced a laugh, and said the line that gutted me. "I told you from the start, you're just a fling. But if I'm just a fling, why does he still call me at 3 a.m.? Why does he still hold me when he thinks I'm asleep?" Why does he still text me every single night? That's the hook of know he's poison wrapped in tenderness. A storm that leaves you craving the rain. And the truth? I'd rather drown with him than stay dry without him. He didn't text me the next night. For the first time in weeks, my phone stayed dark. No buzzing, no hey, no three dots dancing in hesitation. The silence was deafening, and it felt like my apartment had grown colder without his ghost in it. I told myself it was a relief. Maybe this was what I needed to finally break free from his grip. But when the second night passed in silence, relief turned into panic. By the third night, I caved. Called him. Once. Twice. By the fifth attempt, I hated myself. Hated the sound of his voicemail greeting. Hated how much my chest ached for someone who claimed I was nothing but a fling. And then, on the sixth night, there he was knocking at my door at midnight. No words at first. Just him. Standing there with his hoodie damp from the rain. Eyes red like he hadn't slept in days. What the hell happened to you? I snapped, anger spilling out to cover the worry. His voice cracked when he answered. My dad. He's sick. Hospital. Couldn't he stopped, swallowed hard. I didn't know how to tell you. That was Noah. He'd rather vanish than admit he needed someone. I should have been furious. I should have slammed the door in his face. But instead, I pulled him in, shut the door behind him, and let him collapse against me. His hands clutched my shirt like he was afraid I'd push him away. I don't know how to do this, he whispered into my shoulder. I don't know how to need someone without destroying them. I held him tighter. Then let me decide if I want to be destroyed. For the next few weeks, things shifted. Slowly, painfully, but they shifted. Noah started showing up not just at night, not just when he was lonely or drunk, but in the middle of the day bringing me coffee, asking if I'd eaten. He still hid behind sarcasm, still flinched when things got too real, but I saw the change. One evening, after visiting his dad at the hospital, he came back to my place, dropped onto the couch and stared at the ceiling. You scare me, he said. Me? I laughed. I'm the least intimidating person alive. No, he murmured, rolling onto his side to look at me. You scare me because you make me want things I told myself I'd never want. The room went silent. My chest tightened, but not in the old way, not with pain, but with something warm, something hopeful. Then want them, I whispered. His hand found mine on the couch, fingers trembling as they threaded through. And for once, he didn't pull away. Of course, Noah being Noah, the moment couldn't stay perfect. A week later, he disappeared again. No text, no call, just gone. This time, though, I didn't wait by the phone. I didn't pace or make excuses for him. I packed a bag, took the late train, and found him at the hospital, sitting alone in the parking lot, his face buried in his hands. When he looked up, his eyes widened like he couldn't believe I'd come. You shouldn't be here, he said, voice hoarse. Too bad. I shot back. You don't get to decide when I'm here and when I'm not. For a long moment he just stared at me. Then, all at once, the dam broke, tears, frustration, years of walls crashing down. He grabbed me like a drowning man clinging to the surface, his forehead pressing to mine. I'm so fucking scared, he admitted, of losing him, of losing you, of wanting everything and ending up with nothing. My own tears burned. You're not going to lose me. Not unless you keep pushing me away. And then, finally, he kissed Menet with desperation. Not with fear, but with something steady, something that felt like home. Weeks later, his dad stabilized. Life began to stitch itself back together. Noah still had his walls, his sarcasm, his restless nights, but he also had me. And for the first time, he wasn't running. We sat on my couch one night, the same couch where he used to keep his distance. His arm was around me, my head resting on his chest, the soft hum of the city outside our window. Remember when you said I was just a fling? I teased, my voice muffled against him. He groaned. Don't remind me. I was an idiot. You still kind of are. His laugh rumbled beneath me, warm and unguarded. He kissed the top of my head. Maybe, but you're my idiot now. And in that moment, with his arms around me and his phone silent for once, I realized this wasn't about being a fling or an adventure. This was love. Messy, terrifying, imperfect love. And it was ours. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.